This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutastrophe and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on the State. You thought I was done with the on the states because I hadn't done one for a while, but no, I am doing one right here, right now. It's October 30th, 1974, and the greatest boxing match around happened as George Foreman and Muhammad Ali they go toe-to-toe in Zaire for 15 rounds to decide who will be the heavyweight champion of the world. This was actually supposed to take place in September, but there was a lot of problems due to injury. But anyway, this was arguing a great sporting event. Ali was basically a 4-1 underdog, and Foreman was unbeaten in heavy hitting. And Ali decided to introduce a famous trick up his sleeve. So a lot of people said that over 1 billion people watched this match all around the world, being the most watched live broadcast of the time. 50 million people would watch on pay-per-view or even closed-circuit TVs. And it grossed over $100 million in worldwide revenue. And be part of a great documentary film, When We Were Kings. So anyway, Don King would arrange the fight with a music businessman. And got Ali and Foreman to sign separate contracts if you could get a $5 million purse. And this was made to prevent other top boxing promoters from trying to arrange a Foreman Ali match. The problem was Don King could not have the money, did not have the money for $5 million, and it was not welcome to stage an event in the States like that. He had to find an outside country to sponsor the event. And an advisor to Zaire's dictator persuaded Mobutu that the publicity would actually help his regime. And Mobutu said that Zaire will have this fight. There was rumors that Libya wanted to do something about it. So anyway, they went with this stuff. The great Jim Brown, yes, that former Cleveland Brown, with Joe Frazier and David Frost were also doing commentary for the play-by-play by Bob Sheridan. It was a gigantic one and all that. Ali's fight to be heavyweight champion was huge. Foreman was the champion heading into this fight, but Ali's way to get to this fight was huge and all of that. Ali was stripped of his title in 1969 for failure to comply with being drafted and enter the army. He was suspended for boxing for 3.5 years. He would have to fight out of country if he wanted to fight. He finally regained his boxing license in 1970 and had comeback fights. He almost beat Joe Frazier for the heavyweight belt, but Frazier won a unanimous decision. And Ali would have to try to keep going for that title shot. Meanwhile, George Foreman was the 1968 Olympic heavyweight champion. And he looked pretty good because of his punching power, size, and physical dominance. Foreman would face Frazier in Jamaica and would knock down Frazier 6 times in 2 rounds before the belt was stopped. Down goes Frazier fight. So it looked pretty good and all of that. Foreman at 25 would be a big favorite over the 32-year-old Ali. Foreman and Ali would have to spend time in Zaire training because of the tropical African climate. Unfortunately, well, it was supposed to happen on September 25th. Unfortunately, 8 days prior to that, Foreman was cut above his right eye by an accidental elbow in a sparring session. So the fight would have to be pushed for 5 weeks. And all that. Anyway, it was huge and all that. Now, of course, there would be a massive undercard and all that. Paul Osborne would beat Al Romano in an undercard. Joey Hadley would beat Gene Auden, and Bobby Stewart would beat Ken Jones. Anyway, the fight was huge and all that. The build-up was huge because of the fact that, ring psychology had happened. Basically, Ali was spending a lot of time in the Sayer trying to warm up the crowds and all that. And people would yell, Ali Boombaye, Ali Boombaye, means get him, Ali. And all that. Ali knew he could get his speed and technical skills, while Foreman would have his raw power. And anyway, a lot of people thought that Foreman would have powerful haymakers and all that. Ali used some stuff and all that. However, Ali decided to make a new tactic called rope-a-dope, which means he would lean on the ropes and let Foreman punch Ali hard, and would try to force Foreman to be tired and all that. So yeah, he leaned on the ropes and covered up, letting Foreman punch him on the arms and body. Foreman would spend his energy throwing punches. And all that. The energy was huge. And all that. So Foreman began to tire and all that by about the 4th round and all that. Ali would continue to taunt Foreman and all that. So anyway, Foreman's punching and defense was ineffective, as throwing so many wild shots did take its toll, and Ali would pounce on it, getting some jabs and all that. And then after a 5-punch combination, it was a left hook that brought Foreman's head up into position, and a hard right straight to the face caused Foreman to stumble on the canvas. Foreman rose to one knee but did not get up in time, and Sack Clayton stopped the fight. Ali looked pretty good and was leading on the scorecards. So in the 8th round, Foreman was KO'd by Ali. It was huge. This fight showed that Ali was capable of taking a punch and highlighted his tactical genius. He would change his fighting style to adopt the rope-a-dope. And it worked and all that. So anyway, despite the fact that Foreman would call Ali out and wanted to reschedule a rematch, he didn't get a rematch, and Foreman retired after losing to Jimmy Young in 1977, but would come back in about 9 years. So anyway, Ali didn't hurry to set up a rematch. He would take title defenses against people like Jean-Pierre Koopman and Roger Dunn. Ali wanted to fight Foreman one more time before retiring. Fortunately, they became good friends after the fight, and Ali won an Oscar for the documentary film When We Were Kings. Anyway, yeah, and all that. So yeah, so all around the world it was live on closed circuit TV, and had 50 million viewers getting that, grossing 100 million in revenue. In the US, they had 3 million of those viewers in 400 venues. Tickets sold for $20. And all that. BBC One would watch it in the UK, and nearly half of the UK's population actually watched that fight. And all that. People said about 1 billion people watched it. About a quarter of the 4 billion people that were living in 1974. Some say it was exaggerated and all that. This was just a gigantic legacy for Ali, ranked alongside the 71 fight of the century when he faced Frazier at Madison Square Garden by not beating him, and also the Thrilla in Manila in 1975 between Ali and Frazier. Foreman did call into question the legitimacy of the fight and result, making a lot of allegations, including that Ali's trainer had loosened the ropes in the ring days prior to the fight to aid in the rope-a-dope strategy, but this was never confirmed. Foreman even said that his water had been drugged and tasted like medicine, and said that the water would make him dizzy and droopy throughout the fight. And never confirmed. And he basically said that Foreman was given a quick count by the referee, but he was on the canvas for about 12 seconds. Of course, 10 count. Yep, so Ali, when he went to Congo, or Zaire now known as Congo, he was greeted with adoration. And people thought that in the eyes of the Zairean people, Ali was a representation of the struggles of the country, which only gained independence 12 years ago after Belgium lost their colonial rule over them. And Ali Boumaier was born Ali Killam. Foreman could not connect with the people of Zaire and all of that. And all of that. There's just a cultural power. A lot of documentaries happened and all that, including, Ali, one with Will Smith as the title character and all that. Anyway, ABC actually named that in 2011 the greatest moment in wide world of sports. So for ESPN Sports Saturday. News Radio. Had one that Matthew, played by Andy Dick, makes a bet with Joe, as in Joe Rogan, unaware that the boxing match took place. Matthew takes George Foreman, loses the bet. But still, the rumble in the jungle was just huge. Ali became only the second person other than Floyd Patterson to lose the heavyweight belt and then regain it. But Ali had a longer wait to regain it than Patterson. He had to go through 3.5 years of not being able to box in the States because of his refusal to enter the army. He lost to Joe Frazier in his first attempt to try to take the heavyweight crown back. And it took him 3 years to get back to #1 contender before beating Foreman. So you gotta give him a lot of things and all that. So that's just how it is. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.